Gonna go check my fishing lines right now, but today reminded me of an old Chinese proverb and how you choose whether or not you want to be happy in life by looking at things through different perspectives. And the best example I can give of this, I'm probably gonna butcher this a little bit. There's a Chinese proverb where his son goes off and finds a wild horse and brings it home, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, you're so lucky!" And the Chinese man is like, "We'll see." The next day, the horse and his son are playing, and the son falls off the horse, breaks his leg, and everyone's like, "Oh, I mean, that's just bad luck. Like, you must be devastated. That's such bad news." And the Chinese man's like, "We'll see." The next day, the army comes conscripting soldiers and drafting them, and because his leg's broken, he can't go off to war to fight against this huge army, and it's a losing battle anyways. But everyone in the neighborhood's like, "You're so lucky," and the man says, "We'll see." And that's really what it is. Like, you can interpret whether or not that was a good thing or a bad thing that happened to you. My own life, I was on a date with a girl. I boggled the situation horribly. I was absolutely autistic with it. Didn't realize she was really into me, and I had an opportunity to make out with her, to kiss her, and to have sex with her. And I literally just didn't even see the opportunity that was there. She was lying in my bed with my arm around her, and I sat like that for about a half hour because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing at the time. I didn't know she was into me. And afterwards, I was kicking myself in the ass so much. I was like, I'm an idiot. And I was like, you know what? At the time, I still thought I was an idiot. And then a year later, well, not even a year later, 6 months later, because she was actually my neighbor at college, and I basically saw her journey with cocaine. And she became this, like, druggy. She went from being extremely pretty, extremely beautiful to, like, she lost all of her feminine charm, all of her youth, and it was horrible seeing what happened to her. But looking back on that, like, if I intermingled my life with hers, I'm very fortunate that did not go the way I wanted it to. Well, I'm very fortunate I did not sleep with her. I'm very fortunate I did not date her. I'm very fortunate I did not interact with her more, because back then we were said, quote unquote, messed it up. But another situation, I was pledging a frat, got kicked out because my brother made out with the head of security's girlfriend, and he made some shit up, and I was pledging at the time, not even pledging, rushing at the time, and got kicked out. Looking back on it, I'm like, thank God. Probably would have developed a coke issue, or like, that was not a good social group to be a part of. They did a lot of drugs, a lot of partying. It wasn't smart people. It wasn't people thinking long term about their life. So when you have something that happens in your life, like, you can be annoyed with it, you can be upset with it, but like, you decide whether or not you want to be happy on a day-to-day moment by choosing whether or not you want to look at stuff from the positive or whether or not you want to look at stuff from the negative. And I know it can seem like the hardest thing in the world sometimes, and it is. For me, in college, my senior year, after wrestling season ended, I was doing nothing but classes, trying to maintain a 3.98 GPA, and I felt miserable. And I couldn't stop thinking about how I felt trapped in my studies. I didn't really give a care. I wasn't socializing. I just felt trapped at school in a system that wasn't fun. And I was like, is this going to be what the rest of my life is like? And I saw this one YouTube video of this woman saying she used ice baths to cure her depression. And I was like, well, I wasn't clinically depressed, but I was certainly depressed. I didn't like where I was at, hadn't been really happy since wrestling nationals, and I'm like, fuck it, I'll start doing ice baths. And I started doing them. Now, you can see this from the start of my channel, because I have the videos there. Took 2 weeks, and while the ice baths do help with regulating dopamine, freezing your balls off in cold water gives you space and perspective to examine your thoughts And I started realizing I was only focusing on the negatives. So I wrote down a list on my phone with the help of GPT, I think, of all the positives of my situation. And whenever I started fixating on the negatives, I would just remind myself of the positives. And over time, I realized my situation wasn't that bad. I'm never going to get to see my friends as easily as I am now. And there were for sure positives about my situation. I just focused on those, and it got a lot better, and I was happy. I mean, I have never been near, at Amherst. I was by the bottom of the Quabbin Reservoir, which is a giant dam, and I was able to take ice baths in one of the most beautiful places I've ever been in all winter long, because the dam released water that wasn't quite frozen. I've never found as beautiful of a place to take an ice bath, except maybe the Alps, but I've never lived as close to that. I mean, there were definitely amazing things about where I was at that time that I haven't been able to get. So I just remember that, like, you decide whether or not you want to be happy. And I mean, I sure as hell don't want to decide to be sad. Or at least when I catch myself doing so, I try to examine my thoughts and work my way out.